Morning, guys. Today we're going to look at conversions. It's going to tie into your knowledge in division and multiplications by tens, hundreds, and thousands, because the metric system, that's how it converts one to the other. We're going to be looking at meters, grams, and liters. Now, they all don't have anything to do with each other, except they're all on the same chart. For example, in the metric system, when you're using meters, you're measuring how far something is from itself. We use like miles and yards, feet. They use meters, okay? So you pretty much deal with, millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometers. That's how that one. Those are the main ones that you work. There are other ones in there, and you're going to see them on the chart that you have attached, but you're not even going to focus on them. The key ones are kilometers, which is closest to miles, meters, which is about yards, and then you go centimeters and millimeters. Okay, so that's important for you to know those things. Then you also have grams. Grams will measure weight. So grams, if I go kilograms, it's similar. Again, it's not the same, but it's at least similar to pounds. So if I weigh, 80 kilograms, it's typically around 170 pounds, but it doesn't always go that way. But it's important for you to know when you're dealing with grams, you're going to deal with the main category grams. When you go bigger, you go kilograms. Kilo is the biggest. It's the most. Grams, and then you can go milligrams. Most people don't use centigrams. It's not something that you actually say. It does exist, but again, when you're dealing with grams, the ones you're going to see the most common are milligrams, grams, kilograms. Those are the key ones. And then you also have liters. That's, measures liquid. So you have just the regular liters, you have milliliters. You'll look at your soda bottle or Mr. Cab's Diet Coke. It'll say how many milliliters it is. So you go milliliters, you have a 2-liter bottle of soda at home, right? And then you have kiloliters. Okay, those are the measurements that we're dealing with. Now, they all work in groups of 10. That's how they're connected to each other. So on your classwork today, you're going to see the first slide is going to have a chart. And it's going to go across. It's going to tell you how many spots. But I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to just tell you so you can understand. I just want you to work on the conversion. And what's important for you to know is if I have 1 kilogram, and I want to know how many grams that is. 1 kilogram, how many grams? You have to know that I'm going from a bigger category to a smaller category. So I'm going to have a lot more grams than I do kilograms, because kilograms is way bigger. So I know I'm multiplying. So when I go from the big category and I want to know how many smaller ones are in that big category, it's multiplication. The other way works also. If I have 2,000 grams, I want to know how many kilograms that is. It's going to be a lot less. So when I'm dealing with less, I'm going to divide. So grams to kilograms would be division, and they're connected by 1,000. So and you're going to have to know that chart by the amount of zeros. So it's very important that you know that what each one measured. It's going to be on your chart. You're going to have it right in front of you. And the first 2 questions on your math, I wrote a little note. Divide by 100, multiply by 10, whatever it is, that's what you want to do. So for example, let's look at the first question we have for you today. Say I have 645, let's go meters. And I want to know how many centimeters that is. That's what I have. I'm looking to find out how many centimeters that is. So very important. I got to say, okay, meters is bigger than centimeters. I'll see that right on the chart. So then I know that since I got to go to a smaller category, I'm going to deal with a bigger number. Okay, the number is going to be bigger, so I'm multiplying because I'm going from a big category to little. So it's like I'm breaking the big category into a bunch of little pieces. So there's going to be a lot more little pieces, right? And I have 645 already. So my number is going to get real big. So I would look at my chart and I would see that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So there's 645 meters. In every single one of those, there's 100 centimeters. So what am I going to do? I got to multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 spots. Now you say, Mr. Calvin, there was no decimal. We do remember that every number has a decimal by the ones column. And I want to make that number bigger. So I want to show something to you. Say, okay, I'm going to move my decimal 2 spots. And a lot of you have done this. And the reason why I'm saying move the decimal instead of shift the numbers is because it seems like that seems to be easier for you guys. Either way, Whatever's easier for you. As long as you can look at it and say, oh, that number is bigger. So if you look at this, I want to say something. If I was to move the decimal 2 spots, because I said there's 100. Remember we said 100? And I end up with, I want you to look and see what's wrong with this. I moved the decimal 2 spots, just like Mr. Kavanaugh said. There's my answer. So I went from 645 meters to 6 and 45 hundredths. Are you able to identify what I did wrong? Are you able to look at that and say, wait a minute, something's not right? And I hope that you're saying to yourself, I moved the decimal the wrong way, or I shifted the numbers the wrong way. The reason I know this is I need a lot more centimeters. I can't go less. There's 100 centimeters, 100 in just 1 meter. And I have 645 meters. I only have 6 centimeters. Something's wrong. So you should have said to yourself, Mr. Kavanaugh, you got to go the other way. You got to have the number bigger, and you would be right. So what I would do there is, bear with me one moment, please. Look at the bottom one now. I would now end up with 64,500 centimeters because then I moved the decimal 2 spots the other way, and it made life a lot easier. Okay, so that would be multiplying when you're going from a bigger category to a smaller category. Now, if you're going from a smaller category to a bigger category, I want you to think about that now. What operation would you do? Hopefully you're saying to yourself, we would divide because we're going to go smaller. So for example, if 10 pens make 1 pack, 10 pens make 1 pack. I have 20 pens. How many packs is that? You would have to say, well, 10 pens make 1 pack, and he has 20 pens. That would be 2 packs. So all you did was divide there. And we're going to do the same exact thing here. So let's use a different measurement system. Let's go. Let's say I have, I have 7,336 milliliters. And I want to know how many liters that is. Now, if you look on your chart that you're going to have during your classwork, it's going to be the first page. You'll see that liters and milliliters are separated by 3 spots because it's 1,000 milliliters make up 1 liter. 1,000. So you got to move that milliliter now 3 spots smaller. So you got to say, okay, if I have 7,336 liters and I got to get smaller 3 spots, what do? You got to make your decimal move and make the number smaller. So 7,000, I'm going to move it 3 spots. You can move it with me if you like. Because remember, there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So there's the decimal, right? We know it's right before the ones column. So we go 1, 2, 3. And we'd end up with 7 and 336 liters. That would be my answer for that. Now, is 7 small than 7,336? Yes, obviously it is. Now, I want to also ask you, what if the question said, okay, I want to know how many liters and milliliters that is? So I know I have 7. That's what I have. I have 7 whole liters. So that I know. And I didn't have enough to make another one. I had 336. What do you think that 336 is? That's milliliters. That's the milliliters that were left. So this is how I would answer that. Whatever is on the other side of the decimal is the other part that you're measuring. So it should be 7 liters, 336 milliliters. And that's pretty much it for your math today. It's just simple division. I want you to use the chart, but I want you to use common sense also. I want you to look at it and say, I started with a bigger category and I'm going to a smaller category. How is my number smaller? You got to start using your brain for some of these. They get confusing if you let them. Use your chart to help you. Use Mr. Kavanaugh to help you. I know Matthew C. does a great job If he has a question, he types it right in, and I'm typically right here at the computer working. So I'm going to get his message right away, and him and I will go back and forth to make it work. And if you're still having issues, you have FaceTime. You have ability to get in touch with me where you don't need to drive mom or dad crazy. We can talk about it, and you can understand it. I'm not going to lie to you. It's confusing. So you got to be organized. You got to take your time, and you can't overreact. Just take a breath and ask yourself the simple question. Which category is bigger? Is my answer smaller? How many spots? Is it 10? Is it 100? Or is it 1,000? You got to look at the difference between those spots and find out. Any questions, I'm here to help you. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to actually post a video on the writing assignment as well, and we'll talk in a bit. Bye.